Good morning, third grade. I am going to continue your word study for the week. So on Monday, you started talking about scop and scope with Mrs. Campbell, and you learned then that the meaning of those two roots is to look at and examine. So we are going to continue with a few words today, and then I have a couple other things I'm going to show you that we would like for you to do. So our first word is, here it is. So I want you to look at the pictures and I want you to think about what you think he is doing. So here he's looking through here. It looks like there's something sticking up right here. And then this almost reminds me of kind of Battleship. So what do we think he's doing? And you should know. Oh, sorry, I could not draw with my mouse. That says scope. So we have the scope right there. I'll try that again. So I know that this says scope. So now I need to look at this other part of my word, this beginning part. And I notice in there that I have this R controlled vowel. So this is going to say pair, I. So if I do it here, oh my goodness, I'm having a horrible time with my writing. So if I syllabicate it here, I would have periscope. I'm not sure that sounds right. That's not really a word that I have heard that makes sense to me right now. But sometimes we have these vowels in the middle of words that are by themselves and they're not accented. So they make a schwa sound, which says periscope. Oh, periscope. That sounds like a word that I've heard before. So this is periscope. And periscope means, so I know that scope from earlier in the week means to look at and examine, and para means a surrounding. So he is looking at and examining his surroundings. So he's looking around at his surroundings here. So we're going to go on to the next one. We're going to take a look at this picture. This kind of reminds me, I don't know if any of you have ever seen an x-ray. Maybe you have broken something or someone in your family has and you've seen an x-ray. That's what this kind of reminds me of. But I know that this word is not x-ray, so it can't be that. But I'm wondering if it's not something like that. So again, I see scop here. So I know I have this syllable, scop, because it's in red for me, it's highlighted. And now that I pulled that out, I notice this word here, radio. And that's a word that I know. So I have radioscopic. Radioscopic. So I know this means to look at and examine. And this looks like an x-ray. So maybe they're looking at and examining something like an x-ray. So if I look at the meaning, it does. Radio means ray-like. So they are examining something ray-like. So it's like an x-ray, and they're using it to examine something that's maybe going on with them. So here is my next word. This one, those one we were decoding. This one we're going to encode. So we're going to try to sound this out. So this is what we're looking at here, and this is called a stethoscope. So the first thing we're going to do, and then I'm going to switch over to a different camera, is we're going to pound it out and see how many syllables that we have. So if I have stethoscope, I see 3 syllables there. So I'm going to switch over to my paper and I'm going to draw those 3 lines. Stethoscope. So thinking about that very last one, I hear that scope. So I know that this is that root that we've been working on. So I can go ahead and put it in there. So I just have So I hear and then I hear that sound. So we know that the TH makes that sound together. So the last one I have here is step. I only hear one sound in there, and I hear like a U sound. But if I take that word and I write it out here, that just doesn't look right to me with that U there. So I'm wondering if this is an unaccented and it's making that schwa sound. So it's making that sound. But if it's not actually an O. So let's write it again. Stethoscope. Yeah, that looks better. So I don't think this was not the correct way. I think that O is the correct way to do it. So that is how we would sound out that word here. This is stethoscope. And a stethoscope is used, again, we have that scope. So we know that we're examining or investigating something. And the steth part of that means the chest. So they're examining the chest of this little girl. I'm sure most of you, when you've went to the doctor, you have had them use a stethoscope on you. So the next thing, if you choose to, you can go into this Quizlet review for SCOP and Scope. And there are some flashcards here. I think that's it. That you can do. There is some games that you can play with them. I don't know. My internet is being so slow because of the storm. I don't know if we can. So you can just use them as flashcards. If you click on them, it'll flip over and show you what the definition is. Maybe I'm having a lot of trouble with this website. It is not wanting to work for me. You could also get on here and play like a matching game. You could write them, spell them, test. So there's some different things. If you want to do that, you can do that. I don't know if some of those you should be able to do, and you should be able to log in hopefully with your Google account to get on Quizlet. And so that's one thing that you can do. The next slide is this Wonderopolis website, and you are going to go and read about a kaleidoscope and about the inventor, Sir David Brewster, who created the kaleidoscope in 1815. So when you click on this link here, it's going to take you to a website just like this, and you can read through or listen if you don't want to read it. You can listen to the story about the kaleidoscope. So that's kind of a interesting article that you can look at. Next on the slides, you're going to find your assessment for SCOP and Scope, and it's going to be a Google form. So if you just click right here, it's going to take you right to it. And there are 7 multiple choice questions about the words that we have went over with you this week. And the last thing, I went ahead and left them on here. They're optional. You don't have to do them, but I went ahead and left them on here. I thought if you had extra time and you wanted to come back, these are kind of some neat things that you can do. One of them is an online kaleidoscope, and it's kind of like a game. You have to make the pieces. So you can choose to do that. And then it talks about how you can make a kaleidoscope. And if you just pull this up, I'm going to pull this up. Maybe. Here we go. It tells you down here, there are the websites that you can go to. And this one tells you can make it with foil. So tinfoil is probably something that most of you can get your hands on. So if you just click on it, it will take you to the website that will walk you through how to make a kaleidoscope. And then there was a periscope also that you can make. I would let it load, but I am sorry, my internet is just being really slow. So there's also a periscope down here. And again, it has them. So you need, this one needs a cereal box. This one needs a milk bottle. And then so using CDs as mirrors. So, because I think you would need a mirror or two to make that. Again, these are optional. I just left them on there in case you had some extra time and you wanted something to do, or maybe the kaleidoscope really interested you. So I went ahead and left them on here because I thought these were things that you probably could find. It looks like a toilet paper roll and some tinfoil. So I went ahead and left them, but you don't have to do them. So if you get to those and one, you don't want to, you don't have to, or if you don't have the materials, then that's fine. It's not something you have to do. These are just optional. So this one just talks about, these are the optional. These last 4 slides are just optional activities if you choose to do them. So I hope you enjoyed learning about this new route, and I hope you guys have a fabulous day.